What's going on, guys? Zuko back with another Dragonflight video. We're just hanging out with Mama Duck here. I actually didn't even realize this was in the game, but look at this. You got Mama here, and then if you scroll over here, it says Papa's Feather. Oh, it's so sad. Anyway, let's talk about Guardian Druid. I was really excited when patch 10.0.5 dropped because there were some big changes that came through to the talent tree, and they kind of rearranged the entire bottom section here. And a lot of people... most Guardian Druids are running the Galactic Guardian, Scintillating Moonlight, Elun's Favored type build, and nobody's even touching a Lunar Beam, which makes sense. It's I haven't actually tried it myself yet, but I don't think it's necessarily the best. But what I wanted to try was to get away from Moonfire and to say, okay, what about a physical build? Can we do a physical build that relies on big damage out of our AoE Maul, which is called Raise, if you guys didn't know. This replaces Maul, makes it AoE. And then we've got Ursoc shields because they buffed Ursocs from 30% to 50%. So Thrash and Maul give you absorb shields for 50% of the damage now. And then we've got Rend and Tear for damage reduction, of course, and big rage generation from Blood Frenzy. And then you're basically just relying heavily on the physical side of the tree. And we're adding in a couple of extra little flares here, which is Thorns of Iron, Rage of the Sleeper, and Dream of Cenarius for healing. So how does this build work? Basically, you are going to rely on your big physical damage reduction buttons, okay? So you have 2 charges of Survival Instincts. That's 50% DR. Then you've got 25% DR from Rage of the Sleeper. Just pop this thing on cooldown all the time. Look at how much damage this saved for me. This actually healed me for like 6% of my HP because it prevented 6% of the damage from coming through. So that's pretty insane. So those are your top 2 big DRs. Bark Skin on cooldown is also very strong. 20% is very good just to have all the time. So those are your big like DRs, and then the rest of the time you are thrashing and pressing Raise, and that will generate shields for you. You can see Ursoc's Fury is my top heal because of all the shields that I produced. So this is what you're doing most of the time. Most of your gameplay loop involves you just pressing Thrash and pressing Raise when you get enough resources, or pressing Iron Fur, of course, to give yourself armor, and then pressing Raise when you get a proc from Tooth and Claw, because Tooth and Claw does also apply to Raise. This is you know, it applies to Maul, and it applies to AoE Maul as well. So that's your gameplay loop. You're running around, generating shields, popping big defensives, you know, when you need them. You're combining Berserk with a Raise/Thrash combo, so you can do those 2 things at the same time. Basically, every Thrash, every other Thrash, you go Thrash into Raise, Thrash into Raise, Thrash into Raise. You can just go back and forth. Or you can go Thrash into like a million Iron Furs, and that will also get the job done. And it will do a little bit of damage as well because of the new Thorns of Iron talent. When you cast Iron Fur, also deal physical damage equal to 30% of your armor split amongst all enemies. This did a decent amount of damage, but in the dungeon that I'm doing, we did a Shadow Moon Burial Ground that I'm going to show you. There isn't a ton of AoE mobs, and it just depends. But this does add like a decent amount of damage. This is almost 4% of my damage. That's fine. That's actually really good. And it incentivizes you to obviously press Iron Fur, which you want to be pressing anyway. So that's what you do. You press your big defensives, and then that's going to keep you safe for the most part. In order to recover health, if you start dying, though, we also have lots of options for that as well. We have After the Wildfire, which is a ton of extra healing. Over the course of a dungeon, it ends up being really good. 8.5% of my healing, and it overhealed for 81%. So this is going to realistically be more like 10 to 15% of your healing. And then we've got Regrowth, and this is coming from our Dream of Cenarius plus Protector of the Pack combo. So Protector of the Pack makes your next regrowth really strong, and then Dream of Cenarius doubles your next regrowth and makes it castable in bear form. This is really good. Now, you have to take non-periodic damage. You have to be getting hit. There's a bit of a stipulation there. If there's a fight where you're not getting hit very much at all, then this isn't going to proc as much. But generally speaking, in Mythic Plus, you're getting hit all the time, and this thing will light up. And when you press it, oh my god, it will like full heal people. I had a couple of them hit for 170,000. 170,000, like, heal. And the regular max hit was 92k. Like, it just hit really, really hard. So, this is your main way of recovering health. On top of that, of course, you still have Frenzy Regeneration if you get really low and you really need to bail yourself out of trouble. You've got that. For some additional extra healing, you've also got Nature's Vigil, which was okay. it ended up giving me about 2.4%. And then we also get healing from Elun's Favorite. Unfortunately, with the talent tree setup, the only way to get down to Rage of the Sleeper with this build was to go through Elun's Favorite. So you do get a little bit of extra healing and a little bit of extra damage. But really, this build is not focused on Moonfire at all. So this is a bit of a wasted talent. But again, as you can see, it's not entirely wasted. So that's the build, guys. It's big defensive cooldowns with things like Survival Instincts, Rage of the Sleeper, okay, Bark Skin. Then you have consistent shielding from Thrash and Raise, and then you have big heals from Regrowth, and you still have Renewal, obviously. You've got your Frenzied Regen, and you've got After the Wildfire proccing heals as well. So it's a ton of just baseline tankiness mixed with healing, which I really think is strong. And particularly, Dream of Cenarius is a huge heal that tends to basically like full heal people, which is really insane. You can use this on your allies, which is like amazing, and it basically turns you into like a prop paladin of sorts. Like you can just smack people with a huge regrowth, which is like a big word of glory from the like a prop paladin would do. So it's really I really love it, and you can see my healing right out of the gate. See, there's that regrowth right there. Look at me. I'm getting hit pretty hard here. I just smacked myself for a regrowth. Look at that. How much did that even do? Let me check really quick. We're at 225, 250. We went from 270k healing to 440. So that did 150,000 healing right there. Just bang. Just got me right back to like full health. So this is what you can keep getting with Dream of Cenarius. And it's very, very good. You can also use it on allies, like I said. And then the damage is quite good coming out of Raise. I really like it. Move this pack here. We start taking damage again. I've got a regrowth ready to go. You can see it's glowing. So I'm not worried about my health at all. I'm just generating shields with Thrash and with Raise. And then if I do take damage, you just smack a regrowth on yourself and you're fine. And that hasn't even, like, we haven't even touched the rest of our kit. Like, you've got Frenzied Regen. Excuse me. You've got Renewal. You got Rage of the Sleeper DR. You got Survival Instincts DR. I haven't even used those yet. So it has this amazing quality. There, my regrowth's back up again. I used it right there to basically full heal myself. It ends up being an enormous amount of your healing, which is super cool. Now, I do think that this build scales with AoE packs, as most builds do. But this one in particular, because Raise ends up hitting all enemies in front of you, it ends up being that, like, the more enemies you can get, like an Algathar Academy or a Knockhood Offensive, some of the big packs in Knockhood Offensive, those would be really, really good for this build. Because Thrash and Raise both hit all enemies in front of you. So you do extra damage there as well, for sure. This is a tough pack here in the opener. These guys end up smacking the tank really hard. So I just popped a Survival Instincts to get the pack going. So I haven't even taken any damage yet. There's an After the Wildfire proc. That was completely wasted, basically. But I'm just pumping as much damage as possible. And one thing I really enjoy about this is that because we have 2 charges of Survival Instincts, you can be a little bit more liberal in your use of them. So you can use Survival Instincts and then just dump all of your rage into damage. Press Raise. Instead of pressing Iron Fur, you press Raise because you're basically invincible anyway. So you don't have to worry about it. Now, on a much higher key, on certain weeks, you would need to have the defensive bonus, I'm sure. So you would instead pump that rage into Iron Fur. But again, we're still getting some damage out of Iron Fur because of the Thorns of Iron, the new talent there. So either way, you're going to be getting extra damage. And you're also going to be getting extra healing. Here's the first boss. Nothing too crazy here. There's a big regrowth on myself, though. I'm running away. You can see. This is the cool thing about Dream of Cenarius. Dream of Cenarius procs, and it stays up there for 30 seconds. It stays up there forever. Like, you don't have to worry about cashing in on it right away. You can hold it. Hold onto your regrowth until you need it. I used it right there when I actually needed it and ended up healing myself for quite a bit. So, remember that that's the case. You can always use your regrowth like whenever you need to. It'll stay up there for 30 seconds, which is an incredibly long time. So I wouldn't worry too much about that at all. This boss fight isn't too bad. Somebody died there, unfortunately. But that's no big deal. Nothing too crazy here. Let's get to the next pack, because this is what I want to talk about. This is a tough pack as well. Big AoE damage needed here and CC. So we run in. I try and get some Thrashes going, get some Rays going. I pop Incarn, or Berserk, sorry. So now I have more haste. My Rays, which is Maul, costs less rage. So I'm incentivized to press Rays. And again, you want to combo this with Rage of the Sleeper, because Rage of the Sleeper gives you 25% leech and makes you basically invincible. So this is a big window for you. When you press Berserk, you can also press Rage of the Sleeper and then just press Raise over and over and over again to get as much damage as you can. You can see we're almost doing 60k here. I should remind you guys, my item level is very low on this. I'm like 370 maybe, and I don't even have 4 set yet. I have 2 set on my Druid, but I don't have 4 sets. So just keep that in mind. This is not... basically, doing a plus 10 key for this character is probably close to appropriate for the level. I could probably do like plus 12s with ease, but that was a pretty difficult pack there, and we ends up working out. Now, we end up pulling a bunch of mobs here. This is really unfortunate. I should have waited for the patrol to come back towards us, so I really screwed this part up, actually. Some people die right here because they get their big casts off, so that's actually on me. That was a mistake there. But here, we try to recover. Death Blast, I try to interrupt here. One of them gets off, takes him really low. Watch this heal on regrowth. Boom. Just smack that Druid. Look at how low he is. He's at 40k, and we get him up to like 120k. So, really big heal there. Awesome stuff. Again, I'm actually just pressing Raise. I'm chilling. One cool combo you can do here is you can put Ursul's Vortex on the ground, and then you can hit people with Typhoon. I actually forgot to Ursul's there, but it'll knock them out of whatever ability they were casting and then pull them back into the AoE damage on the ground like an Earthquake, as you can see from my Ellie Shaman here. So I should have actually put the... I'd done the combo there. But anyway, that was a mistake for me. I pulled too early and ended up pulling too many mobs. Now, unfortunately, people also pulled once again. This is pretty typical when you're pugging a Shadow Moon. Here's the next boss fight. Actually, nothing really going on here, so I'm going to skip it as well. Let's get past him. This pack can be really dangerous, right? 2 dominations going off. 1 gets silenced already, so now we're going to have to kick it. And then we get the Void Lashes going off. The Rending Void Lash, I think is what it's called. There's domination. There's the combo. That's you push them back and you pull them back in. Here's Rending Void Lash. So I want to roar this. I use Roar right there to stop it from going out. This is kind of the CC that you can use. And then again, I'm trying to just cash in on... Anytime, oh, there's a full heal from regrowth, 150k regrowth right there. So yeah, I just want to keep highlighting how amazing the healing is. When you're running this build as a Guardian Druid, you really do function as like a second healer. Because again, you're keeping yourself alive with Survival Instincts, Rage of the Sleeper, Bark Skin, and all your Ursoc shields. That's keeping you alive. So you don't have to focus those big regrowths on yourself as much. Unless you're really desperate and you're about to die. That you don't then, and so it means you can spend those resources on other allies, which is really, really cool. And I think is, in my opinion, one of the funnest ways to play a tank is when you're able to spend your extra resources that you have to heal the group. I love doing that. It's my favorite way to play the game. My favorite way to play tanks is the ability to just full heal an ally if they need it, and to help your healer, buy your healer some time so that they're able to, you know, keep everybody else alive. Okay, moving down the hill here. This is an important pack. You want to assign kicks. I'm going to kick this left Monstrous Spider, and I told Hopkins to kick the right Monstrous Spider. If you don't do that, you will die to their big AoE cast. It's very dangerous. So here comes Rage of the Sleeper, I think, for me as well. I got a regrowth banked up. Look, I'm taking damage, but I got a regrowth banked up. I'm not worried. And I don't even need it because the other healer stepped in and did a huge healer, which is great. But if I needed it, it's there. You've always got that in the bank. That Dream of Cenarius regrowth just in the bank, ready to go. I said, kick the right one. He goes, which right? I said, his right. We were trolling a little bit, which was awesome. Here's a pack here. You want to pull the extra bats in. You can do the little combo of Ursul's plus Typhoon to interrupt these guys as well. I think I pull it off once here. I put Ursul's down right now. I think it's one of my next casts here. There, somebody did the combo right there. We had 4 Druids, so we could do the combo 4 times. There's my Ursul's. Now I'm waiting for them to cast their little Plague Bat spell that they cast. Plague Spit. And then I launch them and pulls them back, and it interrupts the Plague Spit. So very cool. Unfortunately, our Druid got knocked off the edge, and we don't have a priest to get him back. But that's okay. I end up reviving him. All good. We get to the next one. Let's get to the boss fight here. Actually, nothing really going on with this boss fight, except that the range Boomkin didn't step into melee, which I was really annoyed with because I asked everybody to step into melee at the beginning, and he didn't. So anyway, Then when the first inhale comes, we all have to run. So a little bit sad, but that's okay. I don't know if I end up typing to him here. I said stack, you monkey. So anyway, he didn't stack, but that's okay. They actually continue to not stack until the very end of the fight, like a bunch of monkeys, not understanding the instruction that I was giving them. So I don't think they stack here until... Here's another inhale. Look, we're still not stacked in melee. So make sure you do this, guys. Get your ranged people to come in with you and stack into melee so that you can... you don't have to spend so long on this fight. So here, I'd say stack, please, for the love of God. And they finally do it. And hooray. I'm very happy. There you go. And the last inhale happens, and we're all... It doesn't even happen, so it's irrelevant now. But you know what? It's the thought that counts. This is another one here. You want to make sure you're kicking each of the monstrous corpse spiders. Assign a kick here, or else you're going to be in trouble. So again, at the beginning of every pull with this build, you should pop like Barkskin or Survival Instincts. Just pop one of those to give yourself room to breathe at the beginning of a pull. It's very dangerous at the beginning of every pull. It's always the most dangerous because you haven't had time to establish your defenses yet. So when you're going into that pull, get your defenses online right away so that you can start building up towards a Dream of Cenarius heal. Get your After the Wildfire heal ready to go as well. And then you can recover health if you need to later. But at the beginning of every pull, it's very, very dangerous for most tanks. So you want to sort of get that defensive online right away. Okay, last two mobs for the final boss. These are kind of dangerous as well. This is where my Dream of Cenarius heal comes in clutch. Not clutch here. It doesn't really matter, but this is how you want to use it. I'm going to heal this guy right here. Watch the hit. He goes to full here. Boom. Back to 230k. So this is where you can help your healer. This is a very healing intensive moment for most healers is when these guys are both doing their explodey thing and doing a lot of damage to the group. Void Pulse is what it's called. So again, you can really help out if you have a heal banked up. Or Dream of Cenarius right there. Or After the Wildfire procced right there. Boom. 116k, 56k. Look at how much healing that did. That's another one that's just amazing. Amazing group. Everybody's taking a bunch of damage here. My After the Wildfire proc goes off right now. Boom. Everybody gets healed. So that's why this is so strong. This is what makes this build. I love it so much. The extra healing from After the Wildfire. I can't tell you how much I love that thing. Final boss fight. Ner'zhul. Nothing too crazy here. I also forgot that I had Innervate. I have Innervate this entire time, so I finally Innervate the healer. I should have been innervating him the entire time, but that is actually a massive tool that Guardian Druid has as well now. The ability to Innervate your tank is super strong. Super, super strong. Don't waste it. Make sure you're spending it, like, on cooldown because your healer will love you. And in higher keys, they might actually need it. Like, it gets really difficult, so. One thing you can really do as the tank here is just... immediately go to the ads when they spawn and make sure that the entire team understands where to go. Just lead by example. Just get over there really, really quick and start beating up that ad so that the rest of your group can follow suit and they know exactly where to go. I'll show you once again here on the next set of ads. But now I'm looking for the set of ads right now. I'm looking around. I'm looking around the room for the set of ads to spawn. They haven't spawned yet. I'm regrowthing the ranged player who has to deal with these little pillars, which happens to be Hopkins. Here comes the next ad spawn very soon. And I can see, I think it's behind me. There it is. So it spawns right away. I run over there right away. Get over there. Boom. And I moonfire the ad so everybody knows this is where I want to go. This is where I want our damage to go. It can really help your team. Sometimes the first couple seconds of this, if you can make sure that everybody gets over there quick enough, then the ads will die very fast. Everybody knows where to go. They don't waste their damage. And you can really help your team just by leading them there. Okay? Last bit of the fight here, not a problem. Again, we should be doing higher keys, but I just wanted to give this build a test run to sort of see how it felt. And ultimately, guys, I love this build. I think it's really good. Let me just recap it really quick. You've got big defenses with 2 survival instincts. You've got Rage of the Sleeper, and you've got Bark Skin. Those are all giving you big, strong DRs. You're getting Ursoc shielding here. Ursoc's Fury from Thrash and from Raze. Tons and tons of Ursoc shields. Earth Warden as well, giving you massive DR because this is a Thrash-focused build. It's not a Moonfire-focused build, so you get much more value out of Earth Warden because you're thrashing a lot more, and you've got the talent Flashing Claws, which makes your Thrash have a 20% chance to trigger an additional Thrash. So that happens all the time, and you get extra stacks of Earth Warden because of that, which is just 30% DR, just flat DR from auto attacks. So very strong as well. Then We get into our healing. After the wildfire, 8.5% of our healing. Huge. Regrowth, 13.6% of our healing. And some of that is going to our allies, which is great. Keeping them alive as well. Very, very good. We have a little bit of healing from Ellune's Favored and Nature's Vigil. That actually ends up being about 5% of our healing, which is not bad. It could have been better. I probably didn't cast Nature's Vigil enough, but that's how the build works. Big defensives on one side, big healing to keep yourself alive on the other side. I didn't even press Frenzied Regen, basically at all. Like, I might have pressed it once this entire time. Now, on a higher key, I understand it's going to hurt a lot more. I'm going to need to press Frenzied Regen, but just, I feel like if this build is working right now without me even having to use Frenzied Regen, then it's got a really good chance to scale into the higher keys, and I'm going to be trying this build in some higher keys this week, so stay tuned for that. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. What do you think about Guardian Druid with a physical plus healing build? I would love to know what you guys think. I would love to hear from you in those comments down below. Thank you so much again for watching, guys. I love you all. I'll see you in the next one.